Hello there. Welcome to today's lesson. This is the topic equations 1, and we are going to look at the introduction or introduction to equations. Just for our sake of understanding, let us try and answer the following questions for us to be in a position to understand what do we mean by the term equations. So we have the following questions. The first question is, so we are having a number. When we add 3 to the number, we are supposed to get 10. So we need to find what is that number. And we find that 7 plus 3 is equal to 10. The next part is there is a number. If I subtract the number from 41, I'll get 21. So this means that 41 minus 20 gives us 21. So 41 minus 20 will give us 21. That is the first question that we need to work out. The second question we have is, our value for x is 3. We need to find the solution to this sum, x plus 4. We already know that the value of x is 3, so we substitute the value of our x with 3 in this given equation. So this means that where I have x, I replace it with 3, so I'll have 3 plus 4, and 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. Next, we have 3 plus 7x. 3 plus 7x, we are having to substitute our x with 3. So this means that I have 3 plus 7 times 3. 7 times 3 will give us 21. So that means that this is 3 plus 21. And 3 plus 21 will give us 24. So from these calculations, what are we coming up with? We are coming up with the following conclusion, that all the questions I've worked out are simply equations. Those are examples of equation. So the question is, what is an equation? And an equation, we are defining an equation as So an equation is simply a mathematical statement that is used to say that two expressions have the same value. For instance, what we've just looked at, when I'm having 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So we are having two expressions. I have expression on the left-hand side of the equation. I have an expression on the right-hand side of the expression. So when we are having two expressions that are showing that they have the same value, then we say what we have is an equation. The sign that is used, this is the sign that is indicating that the two values are equal to each other. So this sign simply shows that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So this is an example of an equation. Equation is a mathematical statement that is used to say that two expressions have the same value. We are having expression on the left-hand side of the equation. We have an expression on the right-hand side. So this sign is showing that whatever is on the left-hand side is of the same value with what is on the right-hand side. So we say that this is an equation. So we've already said that when I'm having two expressions, that I have 3 plus 4, then that is an expression. If I have equal to 3 plus 4 is equal to 7, then this is not an expression, it is an equation. So we need to find out what is the difference between an expression and an equation. We are simply saying that an expression So what is an expression? An expression is a collection of prenumerals, numbers, operators, but without an equal sign. So when we do not have an equal sign, then whatever we have is an expression. So a collection of numbers, a collection of prenumerals, a collection of operators that have no equal sign, then it means that what we have is an expression. An example, we can have 2x plus 5. So 2x plus 5, we do not have an equal sign. So this means that this is an expression. If somebody has we have 2y plus 6x, then this is a collection of prenumerals. Then this is also an expression because we do not have an equal sign. So when you write a collection of numbers, a collection of prenumerals without an equal sign, then whatever you've simply written is an expression. But when there is an equal sign, then it is not an expression, but it is now an equation. So we need to work out various equations so that we are in a position to get the solutions to the given equations. So we've already defined, we've given the difference between an equation and an expression. So you can be given some situations and you need to identify, is whatever you've been given an equation or is it an expression? So let us find out. In the following situations, are they equations or are they expressions? So we have the examples on the board. We need to identify which one amongst them is an equation. So the first part, we have 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. We find that we have an equal sign that is separating the right-hand side and the left-hand side. So we have the left-hand side, we have 3 plus 5. The right-hand side of the equation, we have we have 8. So this means that since there is an equal sign between the numbers, then it means that this is an equation. Part 2, we have 4 is equal to 12 minus x. So we are having an equal sign in between the numbers and the pronumeral. So we have x, we have 12, then we have an equal sign, then we have 4 on the left-hand side. So we have an equal sign in between the numbers and the pronumeral. So that means that since there is an equal sign that is in this equation, then it means that this qualifies to be called an equation. The next one, we have 2 plus 12. 2 plus 12 is not an equation because we do not have an equal sign that is in this sum. So since we do not have an equal sign in this sum, then this is not an equation. And if it is not an equation, what is it? So this means that this is an expression. Part 4, we have 3 plus n. Still, in this case, we do not have an equal sign. So since we do not have an equal sign, it is not an equation. And since it is not an equation, then we are saying that it is an expression. Next, we have 7 plus 7 is 18. First, we need to note that the working in this case is not correct because 7 plus 7 is not equal to 18. It is supposed to be equal to 7. So this means that there is a wrong working that has been done in this given equation. We have a wrong working that has been done. But despite the fact that there is a wrong working in this given sum, it still qualifies to be called an equation because we have an equal sign. So it is an equation even though there is a wrong working that is done in this case. So it is an equation. The reason is we have an equal sign between the collection of numbers that are in that case. So with that solution that we've just worked out, there are some situations that when you have an equation that has been worked out, you need to find out, is the equation true or false? You need to classify the given equation. That there are some workings that may be true. There are some workings that may be false. So we need to classify the equations and find out, are our equations true or false? So the next part that we are looking at is how do we find out if our statement is true or false. So we have the three sums on the board. The first sum we have is 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. That is the first equation we have. We need to find out, is it true that 2 plus 3 will give us 5? And from our addition algorithm, we know that 2 plus 3 will give us 5. So that means that this statement is true. Then next we have 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2 is equal to 6. This is an equation that we have. We need to find out, is the equation true or false? Then we try and evaluate the equation. 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2 is just the same as 2 plus 3. So this means that 3 plus 2 is not equal to 6. But 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. So what does it mean? Even though this is an equation, but the equation has a wrong working. So it means that this statement that we have, the equation that we have, 3 plus 2 is equal to 6, is a false statement, because 3 plus 2 should be equal to 5. 5 minus 1 is equal to 6. We need to find out, is our equation true or false? 5 minus 1, we find that 5 minus 1 should be equal to 4. But in this case, the equation that we've been given is 5 minus 1 is equal to 6. This one, the value, then the equation should have been 5 plus 1 to be equal to 6. But it is 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. So even though this is an equation, but it is a false equation, because 5 minus 1 is equal to 4 and not 6. So what does it mean? It means that not always the equations you've been given are all true. You need to verify and find out, is the equation that you've been given true or false? And you will only find out if it is true or false by simplifying whatever sum that you've been given. If you simplify, then you find that the answer that you obtain is the same as what is on the right-hand side, then it means that the solution is a true solution. But when you get a different value, then it simply means that whatever you are having is a false equation. you can be given a situation, and from that given situation, you need to form an equation from it. So you are given a situation, you are given a description. That description that you've been given, you need to form an equation from it. So we just have to go through some few examples that will help us identify whatever we are talking about. So this is the question. So when you are given a situation and you need to write an equation from that given situation, it means that you have to read the situation carefully, understand the situation first before you go ahead and write the given equation. So in the first situation, we have the sum of 3 and x is equal to 10. So what do we mean by the term sum? When we are talking about sum, then it simply means addition. So it means if we add 3 and x, then our value is equal to 10. So this means that the equation will be 3 plus x is equal to 10. We are simply saying we are coming up with this equation because the situation is telling us that it is the sum. And sum means we add. So we have 3 plus x will be equal to 10. So the other situation is when k is multiplied by 5, the result is 1005. So we are having multiplication. So what is this? K multiplied by 5. So it means I have k times 5. The result is, it means that it is equal to 1005. So this is the situation we have. This equation can be the same as 5k because k times 5 is 5k. So 5k is equal to 1005. So that is the equation. We are talking about k multiplied by 5. So we have k times 5 is equal to 1005. 5 times k is 5k, which is equal to 1005. Remember, we are simply finding the equations to the given situations, but we are not simplifying them. So we are simply writing down the equation. And we've said that an equation is simply an collection of expression that is showing that the two expressions are equal. So we are having the expression on the left-hand side, we have the expression on the right-hand side. So when we are having an equal sign, then that is an equation. So this is an equation that is representing the situation whereby k is being multiplied by 5 to give us a result of 1005. So we have the sum of P and Q is equal to the product of Q and P. So we have two terms that have been used in this case. We have the term sum, then we have the sum product. So when we are talking about sum, then it simply means it is addition. When we are talking about the term product then means it is multiplication. So we need, in the first situation, we have the sum of P and Q. So we need to get the sum of P and Q. So we are saying sum is addition. So this means that sum of P and Q, we have P plus Q. Then next, we need to get the product of Q and P. Product of Q and P simply means we are multiplying, so we have Q times P. So Q times P should give us QP. So our equation then, we are talking about the sum of P and Q is equal to the product of Q and P. So what should be our equation, or how should our equation look like? We are saying the sum, we are having P plus Q, then product, we are having QP. So this means that the sum is equal to the product. Sum of P and Q, that is P plus Q. Product of Q and P, that is QP. So P plus Q is equal to QP. One quarter of T is 12. So we need to find what is 1/4 of T. So of, it means that we are going to multiply. So we have a quarter times T. The value is equal to 12. So the value is equal to 12. So what is a quarter times T? That we get a quarter T will be equal to 12. So that is the equation that is representing this situation. 1/4 of T. So 1/4 of T simply means we have 1/4 times T. Then it is 12. That means it is equal to 12. So 1/4 times T is equal to 12. And 1/4 times T is simply 1/4 T, which gives us 12. So that is the equation that is representing that given situation. Another equation So we are having the cost of chairs is $C at a store. So at a store, you will get a chair at $C. Then the cost of 6 chairs is 546. So we need to find out, we need to write an expression that is showing this given situation. So if 6 chairs costs as $546. So how many chairs do we have for the $C? So how many chairs do we have? The cost of chairs at a store is $C. The cost of 6 chairs is 546. So we need to find out how many chairs are representing the $C. So when we cross multiply, then we have 6 times C, 6 times C will be equal to a value of chairs that we don't know. That's chairs that we are looking for. So we can represent our chairs with maybe X times 546. So that will mean that if I need to get the number of chairs in this case, then I'll have divide by 546, divide by 546. So this means that the number of chairs in that given store will be obtained by 6C divided by 546. So we have the cost of chairs in a given store, but 6 chairs in that store will cost 546. We need to find out how many chairs are in this store. If the total cost of the chairs is $C, the total cost of 6 chairs is 546. So 6 chairs will cost us 546 shillings. What about the $C? How much is it going to cost us? So this will mean that if I have 6 times C will be equal to the number of chairs that we do not know how many chairs we have times 546. And when we multiply, then it means that I have 6 times C is equal to X times 546. I need to get the value of X, which is representing my number of chairs. So this means I divide by 546, divide by 546. So the equation that we come up with is that X is equivalent to 6C divided by 546. So we are told that Patrick works for X hours each day. In a 5-day working week, he works 37.5 hours in total. So in a day, Patrick will work for X hours. Then here we are having a 5-day working week. So it means that he worked for how many days? These are 5 days that he went to work. And in one day, he's working X hours. So what does it mean? What are the total number of hours that Patrick worked in this given day? So to get the total number of hours that Patrick worked in this day, then we have 5 days. Can do this. We are saying that we have one day, Patrick works for X hours. But he worked for 5 days, so we need to find out the number of hours in 5 days. What are these number of hours? So this will mean that we have 5 times X divided by 1. 5 times X divided by 1 is equivalent to 5X. So it means the total number of hours that Patrick worked in terms of X is 5X hours. But the question is telling us that he worked for 37.5 hours in total. So what does it mean? This 5X is equivalent to 37.5 hours. 5X is equal to 37.5 hours. So we are writing the equation in this situation, and we are finding that our equation should be 5X is equal to 37.5. So that is the equation that we come up with from this given situation, that Patrick is working for X hours each day. One day is working for X hours. Then this week he had a 5-day working week. It means that in the whole week we have 5 days that Patrick will go to work. So he will go to work for 5 days, and in one day he will be working for X hours. So in 5 days it means that he will have covered 5X hours. But in this day, the total number of in this week, the total number of hours that Patrick went to work is 37.5 hours. So that means 5X is equal to 37.5. So we have the other situation that Amy is F years old. In 10 years' time, her age will be 27. So currently, Amy is F years old. In 10 years' time, her age will be 27. So we need to form an expression from this, an equation from this given situation. If currently Amy is F years old, in 10 years' time, it means that Amy will have added 10 years to whatever age she is right now. So it means that in 10 years' time, that will be F plus 10. Her age will be 27. So F plus 10, then it means that it is equal to 27. So the issue that we are having here is that we've been told that this is in 10 years time. So we are having 10 years time and 10 years ahead. So 10 years from this time. It means that each and every year you are adding 1 year to your age. So in 10 years time, this means that she will have added 10 years to whatever age she is right now. So that is why the equation we are having is f plus 10 is equal to 27. So we are having pens cost $8 each and pencils cost $B each. 12 pens and 3 pencils cost $28 in total. So what does it mean? We are having 10 pens and the cost of 1 pen is $8. So it means 10 pens will cost us 10 times A. So 10 pence, the cost of 10 pence is simply equal to 10 A. Then we are having 3 pencils. The cost of 3 pencils then will be 3 times B, and 3 times B will give us 3B. So the total cost of the 10 pens and 3 pencils will be obtained by adding the two costs, the cost of pens and the cost of pencils. So we are having the cost of pens is 10A, the cost of pencils is 3B. So 10A plus 3B is equal to, we are being told that they cost $28 in total. So 10A plus 3B will be equal to 28. So after forming the equations, then we need to get the solutions to the given equations that we have. There are situations whereby we will be required to find solutions in each and every case of the given equation. For instance, such like a question, we are asked find So we are to find the value of m that would make this equation true. So the equation we are having is 10 is equal to m plus 7. We need to get the value of m that will make our equation true. what do? M plus 7 is equal to 10. So we are having an addition sign. For me to eliminate the 7 so that I remain with M on one side, it simply means I subtract 7 on both sides. So I'll have M plus 7 minus 7 will be equal to 10 minus 7. 7 minus 7 is 0. So it means that I've eliminated 7 on my right hand side, so that I'm left with M is equal to 10 minus 7. What is 10 minus 7? 10 minus 7 is simply 3. So it means that the value of M that makes our equation to be true is that it is when M is equal to 3. So our value for M in this case is 3. So we are having the equation on the board that we are to consider this equation. 4 plus 3x is equal to 2x plus 9. So we are asked if our value for x is 5. Our value for x is 5. We are supposed to state the value on the left hand side. So what do we have on the left hand side? On our left hand side, we have 4 plus 3x. So I have 4 plus 3x. 4 plus 3x simply means that where I have x, I'm substituting it with 5. So that I'll have 4 plus 3 times 5. And 3 times 5 is 15. Plus 4 will give us 19. So the value on the left hand side is 19. Part B, we need to get the value on the right hand side. So getting the value on the right hand side, it means we get the expression that we have on the right hand side, and on my right hand side the expression I have is 2x plus 9. 2x plus 9, my value for x is 5. So we are substituting where we have x with 5. So that I'll have 2 times 5 plus 9. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 9. 10 plus 9 will give us 19. So the question is the equation true or false for the point where x is equal to 5? Is our equation true or is it false? Looking at our left hand side expression, our value is 19. Our right hand side expression, our value is also 19. So what does it mean? It means that 4 plus 3x is equal to 2x plus 9. It is a true equation. This is true for a point where our x is equal to 5. When x is equal to 5, then this equation is true because our left hand side gives us 19, our right hand side gives us 19. So it means that our equation is true. So that is the introduction part of our equations. We are simply saying if we are having an expression is simply a collection of numbers and pronumerals, or numbers, pronumerals, and so on. So when you're having that collection without an equal sign, for instance, whatever we have in this case, we have a collection of numbers and pronumerals, but without an equal sign. So I have 4 plus 3x. So 4 plus 3x is an expression. Another expression in this given case, we have 2x plus 9. 2x plus 9 is also an expression. And the reason is I've just written them without an equal sign. So when I write this without an equal sign, then I'm having an expression. This is also an expression. But when I'm connecting two expressions with an equal sign, then it becomes an equation. For instance, I have 4 plus 3x is equal to 2x plus 9. So that means that I've connected two expressions. I have an expression on the left-hand side. I have an expression on the right-hand side. When you are connecting two expressions, then it becomes an equation because it has been connected with an equal sign, which is showing that the two expressions are equal. So this expression on the left-hand side is equal to the expression on the right-hand side. So whatever I have is what is known as an equation. That brings us to the end of the introduction to equations. I hope we will meet in our next lesson as we deal more with the equations. Thank you.